Hello, and welcome to the Student Ministry Conversations podcast with your hosts, Brent Aiken, David Pruitt, and Russell Martin. This podcast is all about equipping, encouraging, and inspiring youth pastors weekly with topics that are brought to the table by youth pastors from all over the world. And now, here's your host for this week, Russell Martin.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Student Ministry Conversations podcast. My name is Russell Martin, and you may notice that things are a little different right now. We don't have a guest. I'm in my office at my house, and if you're like me, it's been a tiring week and a tiring summer. I am no longer in student ministry as far as a director. I'm a lead pastor now, but even with that, I have done a week of Vacation Bible School, a week of church camp, and a week of a mission trip called Army, and I've come back, and this week is kind of like my catch-up week. Brent and David are both also on mission trips this week. And so it's kind of crazy. And I want you to know that we know what you're going through. And many of us are going through the same thing. Many of us are going through creating programs. And all of a sudden it seems like maybe things get a little too busy. And maybe you look back on your summer and you're kind of at the end of your summer and you're looking back and going, did I have to do everything I did? Did I do everything that I wanted to do? What was accomplished? And so I was looking back through on my blog. I have a blog that I used to do called UMY Lead for youth leaders. And I'm slowly transferring some of these over to the Student Ministry Conversations podcast. But when I looked at it, I found this post that was written in 2019. So this is before pandemic. And the question I was asking is 5 questions to help you program with purpose. And so I thought it may be good to kind of look at these as you are looking at your next, the fall. Like, what does the fall look like? If you're looking at, planning out that and seeing, these are just some questions that you may want to ask. You may sit down with your team, your volunteers, and y'all ask these questions. And hopefully maybe these will be helpful for you. And I will copy this post and I will accompany it and at least make a post on the Student Ministry Conversations podcast page that has that. But the question is, are you programming with purpose? And here's 5 questions that will help us to program. Because, a lot of times, the biggest thing you have is time. It's not money, it's not volunteers. Although those are very important. A lot of time, the things that we look at is time, and that's the one quantity we can't get more of. There's no way to create more time. And so are you making the best use of the time that you have? Are you over-programming? Are you doing things that don't add to your goal and to your vision, that don't add value to what you are doing? You also have to consider things like your volunteers and their schedules, your parents and their programming, all the other things that students have to do. And so this question of, am I programming with purpose? Is there a reason for everything I'm doing? And so the first question is who am I trying to reach? And that's the first thing to ask is, who is it that I'm trying to reach with whatever it is? So maybe your goal is you are a junior high girls youth minister, and that's your goal and that's your target, that's who you're trying to reach. Then you need to think of what are their needs, what are their schedules, because they're going to be different maybe than senior high guys. So if you're looking at those things, you kind of think of what are unique to that age group, what is unique to those in your ministry that you are focused on. Who are you trying to reach? So if you're trying to reach high schoolers, then a Friday night event during the fall may not be the best time because there are football games and things going on. If you are looking to do a summer event for your junior high, then you may have an extra week that you don't have with your high schoolers because a lot of the high schoolers go back for band and football, and now junior high does too. But there may be some of those opportunities. So the people you are trying to reach, the youth you're trying to reach, if you know their schedules, you know their priorities, you know their activities, you know their availability, then you may find some unique places to be able to reach them. The second thing is, what is the need that I'm trying to meet? So Simon Sinek talks about finding your why. Like, what is the why and what you do? And I think that needs to be asked when we're talking about why we are doing a certain program. Maybe you ask your students, hey, what are the needs that you are running up against? Where are the places that you think the church could speak into? Maybe the students are in need of deeper Bible study. Maybe they're looking for ways to share their faith with their friends, or maybe you're trying to bring the group together in fellowship, because those events are going to be different. You're not going to do the same thing for a deeper Bible study that you're going to do for a place for kids to invite their friends always. Maybe, but think about what it is and why, what is that need that you are trying to accomplish with that. The third thing to ask, what are you uniquely equipped to do? Not every ministry has every opportunity and is equipped to do the same amount of things. So maybe you have access to a gym where that you could host open gym. I was at a church that didn't have that, and so that was not a possibility for us. Maybe there are people in your church that have access to a lake house or a retreat place or something like that. Maybe you're next to a school and there are opportunities that you have to reach out and connect with that school. So think about what are the things that your church and your ministry is uniquely equipped. What are the opportunities that may exist? And by thinking of that, that may help you as you're planning your programming. The fourth question, which really should probably be in the first question, but let's just call these in no particular order. So that is, what is God calling you to do? And I think all of these kind of go with that, but to be specifically attuned, that through the work of the Holy Spirit, you can discern the answers to these questions and find out God's direction. God may have things planned for you that you do not know about and you're not even thinking about. But you need to take time to spend time in prayer and just consulting and asking and praying and reading and finding out, like, okay, God, what are some of the things that I'm not thinking of? Like, I can look at schedules, I can look at opportunities, I can look at the why, but is there something that you're calling me to do that you haven't equipped me yet? You haven't cleared the schedule for yet, you haven't positioned us for yet, but what is it that God is calling you to do? And trust that. I don't think every church and every youth ministry is called to do the same things. And so maybe God is using you, even in your community. Maybe there's one church that does something for students and you're called not to duplicate that, but you're called to do what it is that God has equipped and called you to do. And then the last question is, has it been done before? I know this is the old thing that people don't want to hear when going into church, that we always did it this way before, or we've never done it that way. But I think it's important to think, has it been done before? Because maybe there's something you're trying to do that has been tried and you can learn something from that attempt. Maybe that's not to do it, or maybe that is the way you adjust what you're doing. Maybe you're finding out where it's being done currently, and that can help you decide whether you need to offer that again. And so, has it been done before, and how has it been done before? Can save you some time, save you some headaches as you continue to go. So these are just 5 questions. And again, I will post a link to this so that you can see these, or I'll repost it on the blog. But who am I trying to reach? What need am I trying to meet? What are we uniquely equipped to do? What is God calling us to do? And has it been done before? How has it been done before? So definitely there are more questions you need to ask, but I think these could help you get started as you are kind of in this break. I know we're kind of getting close to the end of the summer and the fall's beginning. And so this may be a way to kind of take these questions and kind of work them into your scheduling and planning. So thank you for what you do. Thank you for pouring in the lives of students. I am now a parent of a student. I have a 6th grader, and this is a unique position for me. And so I'm thankful for all those who pour into 6th through 12th graders and college and all those. And thank you for this summer and everything, all the trips you have done, all the sleeping on cots or uncomfortable camp beds, the staying up late, The conversations that you have had with students that were unexpected, were as people were going to bed or sitting around a campfire or while you're working on a mission project, the games you have played, the messes you have gotten in by playing messy games, or that the sleepless nights. And also a thank you if you are married, if you have a family, a thank you to your family, because I know that 3 weeks of camp being gone is not easy, and there are sacrifices that families make as well. So thank you for that. Get some rest. Take some time to rest. Take a day off. I give you permission. Have your boss call me. I'll tell him you need a day off. May not do any good, but we can try. But take a day off. Take time to refresh and recharge, because there's another season of ministry coming as the fall comes in and you are gearing up. And one last thing is, don't fill that calendar too full. Kids don't need busyness. They need relationships. And a lot of times those programs give the ability to create those relationships and to grow and strengthen those. But sometimes we do things just to keep busy. And I probably wouldn't say this 20 years ago, but now being 30 years into youth ministry and now into a new phase of youth ministry, there are several things I know that I did that I probably would rethink. And maybe if I can encourage one of you in that, then maybe you'll rethink and you'll stick with this, because we need youth leaders who are going to be here for years. We're going to need youth leaders who are going to be in ministry at the same church with the same kids. There are things that you can do in year 5 that you can't do in year 1, and there are things you can do in year 10 or year 15 that you can't do in year 5. There are relationships you can build. And so hopefully these questions will help you as you continue to be sustainable in your youth ministry. So that is all I have. I've got to get back and do some other things. If you're wondering why there's a goat on my board, my sister decided when she came to let our dogs out that she put goats everywhere in our house. And so excuse my mess, excuse my office. But many of you, this is what your office looks like too. So maybe we should do a messy office contest one day on the social media. Speaking of social media, if you like what we're talking about, not just today, but in all of our conversations, make sure and follow us at Talk Student Men on all your social medias. Go to studentministryconversations.org and you can see all of our posts. I think we're 120 or so episodes. I don't know. I know we have some great ones coming up. I know we always, in the summer, we have 1 week like this where we're kind of off and no interviews. But if you are interested in adding your voice to the conversation, we would love to have you. And so I'd invite you to come and make your voice part of the conversation. There's a form on our website, studentministryconversations.org, that you can click on and you can sign up to be a guest with us. And one of the 3 of us will interview you and make that possible. So again, thank you for what you do and keep it up, and we'll see you next time.